Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Lesson Known Classics. This is episode number 3311, Doubleshot 3205. After this, basically, I'm going to go ahead and do One Piece because I figure why not. Just get out of the way. So, first up we have is Superman the World. Yep, a bunch of... This is like Batman the World, where it's basically a bunch of international... We have an American story and a bunch of other countries. There's one here from Japan. It's mostly put just a reprint of one of the chapters of Superman Mash, the Superman where you eat a bunch of Japanese food. That's basically what it is. So, the first story, and I thought this made perfect sense to do, because it's American. So, who do we have writing the story from the U.S. perspective? Why, Dan Jurgens, Lee Weeks. Excellent choice on basically, well, for this, because these two have experience writing Superman. And this is just a short, standalone story where Superman is basically racing to stop a plane. Stuff falls out the window. It basically stops like a monster. I wonder if he took time to basically pick up all this baggage just fly out the window. That would be something for him to do. All because a monster shows up. It's like... meets the Major, and of course basically deals with the monster. Apparently it looks like some aliens are involved. Everything is all solved. Apparently it was back up. And of course, then we have Jorge Jimenez, popular artist who does the Spanish stories, Superman in Grenada. Yep, yeah, this is Superman not in Spain, but starts out in Nevada, and eventually he does go to Grenada. It's basically him just being Superman. I think this type of story, basically, when I first saw this, I'm like, this made perfect sense. International stories for Superman. I get the fact basically Batman's done first because Batman is popular. Superman, this makes sense to do is for this one too. I can't think of any others basically like that. So next we have from Italy, we have Marco Nucci with Fabio Coni on the artwork. This is from Italy, which means we have a story for Superman set in Italy. Yep. Or basically he's trying to deal with some basically devils. Beats devil. That's it. Next we have from Serbia, Stavan Sabak on the writing and artwork. Yep. Apparently he's behind books like Conan the Barbarian and Stelzma. He apparently also worked on the artwork for DC for Riddler Year 1 and The Penguin. And apparently he did a story called The Voice, the 50th anniversary special of Metal Harland. This is mostly put Superman in Serbia, where he runs into Lobo. Yep, frickin' Lobo. Of course he does, because Lobo can't leave him alone. It's a very quick story. And then after that, of course it deals with dolphins, because of course it does. And then we go to Cambodian. Camera, I think the name of the country is, with Dr. Edward Gunness, artwork by Ejen Aljo. So, a guy who works over at Zebra Comics over in this country, mostly put is just Superman in Africa for a story. I'm not from this country, so why not? And then we're going to India with Rana Dagabhati on the writing and Sid Kutin on the artwork. Where it's Superman Italy. No, it's Italy, India. And he does not wear the traditional costume, he puts on the Golden Age costume. Yes, for some reason, I guess the artists in India really like that costume, so they put him in that one. And then we're going to Argentina with Mario Mantelli on the writing and the letters, apparently. And we have August Augustin Aseno on the artwork. He also has the covers too, and the cover too. Last Seed of Krypton. It's basically a flashback to Krypton, obviously. And then we go to... basically, it's Superman fighting a supernatural creature in Argentina for a whole issue. We appearance by the Fortress of Solitude. More fighting with the creature, and that's it. Yeah, he wraps the creature up really nicely. And then we're going to Turkey with our... no credited writer, just an artist. It's Etham Onar Balak. Did this guy work on American comics? No, besides this one. So it's mostly put just... I guess he's a writer too, because there's no credit for a writer here. It's basically Superman Turkey for an issue, while dealing with some international, basically standard stuff for Superman. And then France. Superman Paris, that's the name of the story. Written by Sylvain Romberg, artwork by Marshall Tondano Vargas. So it's must put Superman and Lois visiting Paris for an issue, while also fighting King Shark, obviously. Yes, King Shark from the Suicide Squad. Yep, he's here. And B. Tim hangs out with Lois. And then we're going to Brazil, where the writing, artwork, the letters, and the cover all done by the same person, Jefferson Costa. Which makes me wonder, why can't they get Mike Damundo? He's also Brazilian too. Apparently I found also a reason that Rod Reese, the colorist, he's Brazilian too. Yes. Nope, I guess they just picked this guy here. I'm not really the biggest fan of how he draws people. Like, look at this. It looks like his face, his chin is tucked in the guy's... Yeah, this artwork is not that good. Nothing against the artist, but my gosh, this book was not that good. It just... I couldn't really tell what was going on here. I mean, at least in case the other ones I could go on, but this artwork is just not good at all. I like the writing, but... ugh. Then we're going to Poland with Barstosz Sadzbor on the writing. Artwork by Mark Osik. Apparently, he did some writing for Cyberpunk 2077. So, is this one in Poland? Yes. We're basically in Poland for a whole issue. Superman just fighting other creature stuff. It's a really quick story. And then we're going to Mexico with Bernardo Fernandez on the writing, artwork, lettering, cover. Where it's pretty much the whole thing of this one is Superman fighting a Mexican god in Mexico. And that's kind of just the story. Also, we have Superman wearing this outfit here. Also looks a bit chunky with the outfit. And then we're going to Germany, where we have Fex, who does the writing, artwork, and cover. Man of Kipschall. Yep. So, yeah, it's Superman in Germany. It looks like for the Olympics. Yep. And then we're going to Czech Republic for some reason of Superman being old. Yep. With a white beard. And it's done by Stefan Koprava, who's the writer, and Michel Sagnik on the art, who does the arting, who's art, color, letters, and cover. It is mostly put Superman in space and not in the Czech Republic. There's stuff here basically looks like Superman in the future, where it deals with a bunch of like other stuff, and that's it. Good book here. The only story here I was not really the biggest fan of was probably the Brazilian. I was not a fan of the Brazilian. Everything else I thought was really good. I give that book roughly 9 out of 10. Next up we have is a book I got from Comic-Con just a few days ago, Dial H for Hero. Now here's a fun fact about this book. Did you know this actually is the third series for this concept? Yes, third ongoing. And it's the shortest out of all three of them. This was 3 issues shorter than Dial H. And that was 15 issues. The first series was HERO with the dots. That was 22 issues, and that was the longest. This, of course, is published by Wonder Comics. the Brahma Bendis initiative, which there is a theory that this initiative, Wonder Comics, killed the New Age hero line, because Bendis like, oh, we need like a fresh imprint, even though that the concept they have here was like new characters, even though we had it. But this is not, well, the concept is old, but the character's new, obviously. So this book collects the first 6 issues of this ongoing series. Written by Sam Humphries, art by Joe Quinnes. With Scott Hanna, artist Devin, Tom Fritter, and Mike Aldred. Good. So, in the opening issue, we have Miguel. That's basically our main character here. Looks like he's barely surviving. He thinks he's Superman. Like he really wants to be a hero, but he doesn't have powers. So, after a bunch of chastising and other stuff here, he goes basically just trying to be like a bicyclist. And then, for some weird reason, the Dial H phone comes out of nowhere. Yes, the dial. And if you must live, you must dial H. And he does. And then we see cameos by Tim Drake, Lobo, Snapper Carr, Angel and Ape, which the Ape himself, he's the son of Gorilla Grodd, Harley Quinn, and Alfred. Like, oh, the H-Style is back, and he's like, I am Monster Truck! What? Yes, this is the silly concept, basically. You just you dial on an actual dial phone, and you become this. And by the way, this came out in 2019, when we have stuff like this nowadays. Yeah. So he basically saves himself, obviously, and every issue gets a brand new power. And mentions, oh yeah. Mention about the Operator, about the Thunderbolt Club. And so basically becomes a hero by dialing stuff. So then we have a smartphone here, obviously, and then we have and who is the operator? Well, we'll find out later on who it is. Apparently he doesn't want it. So then we have a guy picks it up, and we have something with a telephone booth, and then somebody dials, and then he becomes the Donkey King. Yep. Battles it for a while, then he gets the dial back, ends up in a telephone booth like he's basically Ben and Ted. And then it becomes the Iron Dreadhead, which I love the fact this page here becomes basically a nod to 90s comics. And after, then we have a nod to, we have him basically become, basically not the Goku here with the Kamehameha wave. After they battle each other a while, and then we have, well, the Thunderbolt Club. Then we have, oh, it's Gorilla Grodd fighting a bus. Where are you, Flash? Yes, Gorilla Grodd shows up with this issue. Oh, and who is this, you might ask? This here is Robbie Reed. Who is that, you might ask? This is the original possessor of the H-Style, who debuted back in the late 1960s. But this is not his debut appearance. He actually made his debut in Doomsday Clock, because that was the book that fixed a lot of continuity problems. So, yeah, we pick up the dial, of course, and then we have like someone else basically pick it up, and then this woman becomes basically something becomes Bluebird. Looks like something out of Vertigo with this stuff. Yep. And then we have where this one girl makes a dial and becomes Kick Low, who appearance-wise reminds me a lot of Dead Girl from Marvel Comics. Yep, and she battles Bluebird. Yes, Bluebird. And it becomes very trippy. Low kick you, yes. And it turns out the operator is actually Robbie Reed. They're going to the old Just Like America base. Except that, here's the thing. This is not the original base. Where they go is the Justice League bunker from the Justice League Detroit days. Which I think this is the first time it's ever appeared in comics since the 1980s. And there are hero robots there. And the way they have, oh yeah, the Justice League Detroit headquarters. Yep, but it's not the original one. That is actually the Secret Sanctuary. And that's in Happy Harbor. And then we have, it's like, 2 high school kids, really? Playtime is over. Hand over H down, go straight to tension. Yep. We have Snapper Carr appear here. Yep. And then we have also, for some weird reason, Black Canary in her late 80s garb. With Fire and Ice. Despite the fact these 3 were never part of the Justice League Detroit. Never were. Login Man definitely was. You have stuff with the Heroverse, obviously, Mr. Thunderbolt, and then the robots simply attack. It's more like JLI stuff. And then we have Chump Change, which is a nod to Sin City, and Alien Ice Cream Man, and Little Megiddo, Thrilling Secret Origins, and more weird stuff. It's very chippy. And then Mr. Thunderbolt appears. And then we go to Secret Origin of the Heroverse. Yep. And we kind of detail, looks like we even briefly go back to Silver Age here with the debut of Supergirl, which I thought that was really cool, and the artists do that. Where basically this is sort of a recap, and then basically we have, then we go, and then they go briefly to the New Frontier Earth, which is great to see that. And basically go throughout the multiverse. We have, one point we have the Superman Mobile show up here, yes. This mobile was created to take on Amazo, so he can stop taking his powers back in the Bronze Age. Bunch of statues here, a bunch of Superman. And then the Superman car crashes into the planet, the globe on top of the planet building. And then we have a version of the H-phone turned into cell phones. And then the heroes of Metropolis become heroes for some reason. And then becomes like Astro City for some weird reason. More heroes, lots of heroes. And then Miguel becomes Super Miguel. Sees a plane. We have a statue that's a clear nod to an issue of Adventures of Superman, which is great, really cool. And it's like Heroes of Metropolis. Like, that's what happens next. If you just had that. But this book, really fun. I give this book roughly a 9 out of 10. Now, why did the book end after 12 issues? Was because of low sales. Doubleshot was canceled because of that. Nope. Excuse me. You want to know the reason why the book ended after 12 issues? Limited series. Yep. Believe it or not, a lot of Wonder Comics was basically limited series. The only book technically was Young Justice. That was the only thing that was ongoing from this line. You're like, really? Everything else was limited. Wonder Twins was 12. Naomi, which I had previously reviewed. There was even season 2 of this one. This was 6. This was a brief ongoing that lasted 6 issues. I get the reason I remember. I can think of why book ended, probably because Bendis needed her for Justice League. Then there was a special, the Jenny Hex special, which I think this was collected in the trades for Young Justice, and of course there was a volume for Amethyst. Which that was also a 6-issue miniseries. I think that was one of the last things they published. Young Justice managed to last a bit longer than anything. Yeah. Now, why did this line end? I don't think it's because of sales, because basically, I think basically some people there was probably, they could have been pointing at fingers like, you ended my line, no, we ended your line, like, yeah. Probably because basically what happened with Bendis with his time at DC Comics, and the fact that a lot of people pointed to his time at DC to be a complete disaster. I do like some of the stuff he put. I did enjoy Young Justice. But this is only the first trade for this run, so in case you're curious, though, the other things to review for the Wonder Comics line is just Young Justice and Naomi. And that's it. Yep, that's the only thing I have reviewed. Yeah, that's the only thing I have fully reviewed now. And now I'm throwing in Dial H for Hero as another book I've reviewed now. Yeah, so not much to say with these two books. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up, One Piece. Okay, next video. Bye.